Hey, I guess you want to follow along on one of my workouts. I would love that. But I think there are some basic rules we need to establish and things we should go over first. So let's do that. Your safety is my #1 priority when making these workouts. So please, go see your physician if you have any underlying heart conditions before performing one of these workouts. To monitor your heart rate throughout the workout, if you have an Apple Watch or a wearable, that's preferable.
While we're on the note of safety, remember, I can't physically fix your form if I'm not with you in person. So I need you to replicate these movement patterns to the best of your ability with perfect form. You're going to also hear audible cues. So if you have headphones in loud environments, it's going to help you understand what you should and shouldn't be doing.
To get the most out of these workouts, simply set your phone or tablet up, follow along with the instructions and try to keep pace, and just work hard. Some workouts might use equipment where it's unsafe to watch the video while trying to perform the exercise at the same time. So for these, I advise watch the video, then rewind, set your phone up off to the side, and then perform the exercise while only listening to the audible cues. Use your own best judgment for this. Oof, that made things awkward.
And that's essentially it. Follow these workouts, work as hard as you possibly can, and on a week-to-week basis, make sure you're thinking of increasing one variable like weight or reps or tempo or something. The last thing I want to say is just a thank you. The fact that you're here with me today tells me that you're willing to dedicate energy and time to try to better yourself, and the fact that you're using me as a resource to do so really does mean a lot. So thank you with all my heart, and enjoy your workout. In today's workout, our agenda is focusing on the anterior side of our body, or the front. We're going to be doing a lot of knee flexion dominant movement patterns, working out our quads, as well as pressing movement patterns to work out our chest and shoulders. Today, we're only going to need a few pieces of equipment that we can easily do from home. We're going to need a lacrosse ball, a foam roller, a set of mini bands, a resistance band that we can also set up in a doorway, as well as a kettlebell or a dumbbell. Without further ado, let's get working out. Before we get started with today's workout, I want us to start with a little bit of soft tissue work to loosen up tight tissue so we can activate it better in our workout, as well as just promote blood flow and help us make sure we can get into these positions of movement a little safer. So we're going to start with a lacrosse ball as well as a foam roller. I want us to start by laying face down. We're going to take a lacrosse ball or a large myofascial release ball, and we're going to set this guy right where our shoulder and our pec meet. We're going to set a timer for 45 seconds. I'm going to press some weight down on this lacrosse ball, and I'm going to search for tissue that's really tender. When I find that tissue, I'm going to take my elbow and lift it all the way up while putting pressure down, and then press my elbow all the way down. Now normally I would put my hand out in front of myself, rest my head down, but it's going to muffle the mic and I don't want to do that to you all. So search for that tissue. Maybe we make small circles. Again, maybe you stay put because it's so tender. Maybe you're someone petite and you're smaller and you don't have as much muscle, and the foam roller feels better on this area because this is digging in too deep. Do whatever you need to do. Again, the goal is to promote blood flow, help loosen up some tight tissue. A lot of us sit all day at work, rounded shoulders, the tissue's too tight, pulls us into bad positioning, increasing risk of injury. So this is really key, and I know we want to get right to the workout, but this is going to help our performance and again, lower our risk of injury. And you just become more aware of your body. You're more aware of tight tissue and how it feels. And again, you're connecting some of the brain musculature connection so you can fire this tissue better in the workout. Okay, next side. Now today, the main concept of what we're working today is going to be the anterior or the front side of our body, which means your shoulders, your pecs, our quads. We're going to be doing a lot of knee flexion movements. So again, we're going to be trying to start with that tissue and we're going to loosen it up. And you're going to be able to see, this is going to help you activate and get into these positions a little bit easier today and a little bit safer. Deep breaths. Again, find a spot, you take deep breaths, you just relax. Lacrosse balls are a great thing that you can travel with. I might spend a few extra seconds on this side, a little bit more tender. Something super easy that you can travel with. And again, this is just going to help if you've been sitting all day at your desk, if you've been on a plane, on a bus, a car. Take a few minutes, give your body some love. It's just going to help you move better and feel better. Second, we're going to use the foam roller. And I want us to work on our quads now, okay? We're going to take this guy and I'm going to work on one leg at a time. Again, 45 seconds. I'm going to start right at the top. Let me bring it up to my hip, right at the top of my hip. I'm going to press myself up kind of in a plank position. My back leg is locked out. I roll myself all the way down, almost up to my hip, and then I pull myself all the way until my top of my quad where it meets my knee. I might rotate my foot out, Deep breaths again. We want this to get into deep tissue, so we have to try to relax here. Maybe I rotate the other way. I work on more of my IT band. Again, maybe more of my adductors on the inside of my leg. Maybe it's super painful in one spot, and I do some knee flexion and extension. Again, you're just trying to show some love. Again, a few extra seconds here. Maybe you do extension and flexion as you're moving. Super effective. All right, let's switch sides. Again, if you want to spend more time here, please do. I just want you guys to get to the workout. I know we have busy days, busy lives. So I'm trying to be efficient here with, our movement prep and warming up, but we got to do it. It would be silly and, irresponsible of us to try to move too quick and just get right to the workout. Help get your mind right as well. We can kind of think of the muscles we're working out today are the ones we're kind of loosening up here. So kind of where we should be feeling it today as we're working out as well. Deep breaths. Again, inside of my leg super tender, so I'm kind of going to some knee extension as I'm here. Today we're going to be doing a lot of knee flexion, like squatting, things like that, which you're going to be doing a lot of for the rest of your life. So it's super important we have good form and we're doing it correctly. Again, spending a few extra seconds here, but this feels good. Okay, now let's move on. Now I want us to work on a little bit of spine health work. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of us sit all day at our desk. We get really rounded and kyphotic and pulled forward. Okay, the tissue of our shoulders and pecs get tight and it pulls us forward. Our back gets really weak and lengthened. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to help restore over time, it's not going to work in one day, some of the natural curvature of our spine. To do that, let's do thoracic extension. Let's take the foam roller, put it on our upper back. We're going to take our lower back and we're going to go into a pelvic tilt. We're going to tilt our pelvis so that we think about activating our core and kind of pushing our belly to the ground, our lower back to the ground. Hands on our head. We're going to take 3 deep breaths. Every deep breath out, I try to conform my upper back more. Another deep breath. Now, I'm maintaining that pelvic tilt. I am not arching my back and going into extension. I'm trying to keep that pelvic tilt and just relax my head all the way down. Once I finish in one spot, maybe I roll up an inch or two. Same thing, posterior tilt, deep breaths. Now again, if you're someone that has horrific posture, and I don't mean it in a negative way, I mean it's a positive in the sense it's going to get better if we do this. I mean that. So take your time and again, slowly get into these positions. Maybe we take a yoga block and we put it on our head and it stops us. And we just sit here for a couple of deep breaths. And you don't try to go too far into extension because too much too quick, your risk of injury is going to go up there. And again, this is to prevent you from having bad posture and hurting yourself in the future, not to hurt yourself. So again, please be safe. If you're someone with scoliosis or if you've had an injury to your spine, please be very safe. Slow and steady, okay? If you want to spend more time there and you feel that's super effective and you sit at your desk a lot, please do bring one of these to work. I know it might look funny, but people are going to respect that you're taking care of yourself, I hope. And if they don't, I mean, we got to look in the mirror as a society then. Okay, one leg locked out behind you. I mean, clipping your toenails, I guess, is keeping yourself clean, but that's just gross. No one's doing that in public or at your desk. This is a little different, I think, for your own health. Okay, one hand out to the side. Let's get back to the topic. And we're going to go through thoracic rotation. Top hand rotates, deep breath out. Pin that shoulder all the way down to the ground. Deep breath out. Okay, let's restart. If you're someone that plays tennis or golf, this is a great way to help restore some range of motion that's going to help you improve your performance. Lower your risk of injury so you're not rotating from wrong position. You're not rotating from your lumbar spine. You're not overextending with your shoulder. I guess having long toenails isn't bad for your health though. That's why it's gross and you would never do that. But having bad posture is. Back to that topic. So we got to take care of ourselves. Again, your future self will thank you for doing these things. And posture especially, I mean, the musculature that's overworking and pulling you into a bad position is overworking, which means it's expending energy, it's wasting extra energy, and it's not in a good way. That tissue is just constantly tired all day because you're in this pulled forward, rounded position, and this tissue is just overworking, it's tight. So we need to restore the relationship of the 50-50, pulling of the front of the tissue and the back of our tissue to be in these good positions. Anyway, enough chatting. Let's keep going. This will last forever if not. I'll see you in a second at the movement prep. Keep working. All right, moving on to movement prep. The only two pieces of equipment we're gonna need for this are gonna be a light mini band. I recommend light, might be too challenging with something more, as well as a really thin resistance band. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna use this resistance band, and we're gonna stand tall, and we're gonna work on some lateral side bend and some pressing to stretch out our lat and QL, as well as kind of activate our shoulders. So, while holding onto a band with shoulder width grip and pulling it apart, I'm gonna get into an overhead press position. All I'm gonna do is cross one leg over, side bend, press both arms all the way overhead, bring it back to my chest. Tilt back, switch feet, side bend tilt, press all the way overhead. Now, I'm thinking of making a big C here, okay? And again, I keep this pulled apart at my chest, and then I press. I'm not just pulling my arms over my head. Press, work my shoulders, stretch my lat and QL. We're gonna do 10 of these per side. The side bend is super important here. Lengthen out the tissue of our lats. Again, if we've been sitting all day, this is gonna help loosen up our lower back, provide some blood flow. If you're a golfer, this is the position you pretty much finish in. So again, helping performance in some specific sports. Deep breaths. Again, really think of getting your hips and center of gravity over as far as you can from that neutral position. I know this is strange, but again, the goal of our warm-up is how quick can we take a lot of joints through a large range of motion and warm up a lot of tissue quickly. And that's exactly what this is gonna do for your hips, shoulders, back. Last one here, cross and 10. Whew. If you're doing that right and you're pulling that band apart, my shoulders are on fire. We're gonna stay on that note, okay? We're gonna take a mini band. We're gonna put our hands inside of the mini band. Now, the part with the mini band, we're trying to emphasize external rotation, okay? Getting my wrists wider than my elbows, okay? That's super important. I don't wanna look like this throughout the exercise. Now, what I want us to do is go into a squat, stand and press our arms over our head, squeezing our butt and belly. We're gonna do 15 repetitions, okay? I won't count that one. Pull apart, stand, butt and belly. Now we get to take our hips through a large range of motion. We get to continue to work our shoulders out. We're gonna be doing a lot of pressing today. Again, I want us to be safe. Use the right musculature, be in good positions. 9, let me do 6 more this way. Again, I try to keep a rather vertical torso angle, right? My squat doesn't look like this. If you do look like that, you maybe don't have the proper ankle mobility to have your knees track forward to keep you upright more, which we gotta work on because we might just create a little more shear force on our lower back when we squat and do some movement patterns where we have to keep a little more vertical torso angle. Whew. All right, so there you have it. Super quick movement prep. Now we're ready to go and start our workout. If you need, grab a little bit of water, pause the video, but I'll see you in a second for circuit number 1. All right, time to get working out. First circuit, we're gonna have 3 exercises we're gonna perform in a row. When we finish all 3, then we're gonna take a short rest and then come back and perform this circuit for 2 more rounds. We're gonna have 3 exercises. The equipment we're gonna need for this is gonna be something to elevate our feet. I'm using 2 yoga blocks. Be extremely safe if you're using something that's unsturdy, as well as a kettlebell. The first movement pattern we're gonna perform is an elevated reverse lunge. We can do this body weight or with weight. I'm gonna use a kettlebell. When we're finished doing that, we're then gonna work on doing a single arm overhead press. I'm gonna do it from a half kneeling position, working on shoulder strength, building some muscle. Third, final thing, a variation of a dead bug with locked out limbs. That's gonna be a little bit more challenging. So without further ado, let's get this workout underway. So like I mentioned, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna be doing 10 repetitions per side of an elevated reverse lunge. If we're using load, you can hold it to your chest in a goblet position. You can hold it by the side that you're stepping back with, the side that's stepping or staying put forward, whatever you'd prefer. It's gonna work your legs in a little bit different manner. So I'm gonna start with it staying on the side of the leg that's forward. I'm gonna take a big step back. When I get to the bottom position, I have a slight hinge forward, right? I'm not 100% vertically upright. I want more weight on my front leg. I drive through the front heel, I stand tall, I squeeze my butt and my belly, standing tall. Again, big step back, knee to the ground. Now, as I do these, the larger the step I take back, the easier on my knee, but the less quad that's gonna work because we're in less knee flexion, and the more hamstring and glute you're gonna work. If you take a shallower step, you're gonna have more knee flexion and you're gonna work your quad more. So if you're feeling a little bit of tenderness on your knee or we didn't do enough warming up for you, take a larger step back. Almost there. Lunging is a wonderful way, last one, for you to be able to work on some single-legged strength work. Big step back. You're gonna work on asymmetries. Maybe you find one side you're a little tighter than the other. Maybe you don't have as much strength, less stability. It's important we start with our lower body movement pattern. It's gonna get our heart rate up, making the next two movements just a little more challenging. And the fact that our foot is elevated means we're gonna work more hamstring and glute and go through a longer range of motion, making this slightly more challenging than a normal reverse lunge. And again, if it's too challenging with load, don't use weight. Okay, second thing we're gonna do a single arm overhead press. So I wanna start by getting this kettlebell into a front rack position safely. Okay, I have a nice vertical forearm. You might wanna use a lighter load than you just used here. From here, I'm gonna press the weight all the way up, finishing next to my ear, rotating my palm forward, bringing my elbow all the way back down. We're doing 10 reps per side here as well. If you have something too light and you need to do more weight or reps, go right ahead. Slower repetitions, whatever you need to do, 10 reps. Tight belly, minimal movement from my body, all the way below my chin. Next to my ear, fully locked out elbow. It's a great way to take your shoulder through a long range of motion, work on strengthening the tissue, give you more shoulder stability, but we have to be able to go through full range of motion. If you can't safely get your arm locked out next to your ear, that was 10. Switch sides again. If you don't have enough weight and you need to do more reps, please. We need to make sure at the top position, we're here next to our ear and we're not out in front of us and we're not arching our lower back to try to get into that overhead position. Nice tight belly, no extension of our lumbar. If you can't get into this position safely, with good form with a weight, you shouldn't be using a weight, and we can just sub this out for some shoulder mobility. You can do some wall angels. You can decompress your shoulders, hanging for something. Finish right next to that ear, last one. Good. And as we press that weight up, we don't want our elbow to flare out to the side. We want to stay close to our body, nice straight line. Third, final thing, we're gonna lay face up. We're gonna do some locked out limb dead bugs. What does that look like? We're laying down face up. All my legs are locked out, arms and legs. I'm gonna alternate while maintaining that posterior tilt, pushing my lower back against the ground. I'm gonna alternate left arm, left leg, right arm to the ground, bring them back up. Now we're doing anti-extension. I'm resisting the urge of arching my back by keeping that pelvic tilt. We're gonna do 12 per side. We're not rushing this. We're going nice and slow, making sure my hips don't rotate. I'm not turning my foot out. Again, if this is too easy, you can hold the positions for a split second at the bottom position. You can bend your legs if that's too challenging. Maybe you don't have the adequate hamstring mobility, so it's really tough for you to lock your legs out. Whatever you need to do to make this challenging and effective for strengthening your core, that's the goal here. If you're distracted by how tight your legs are or your quads feel like they're working a lot to try to lock out your tight hamstrings, regress the exercise and just make it slightly easier. Again, 12 and 12. Anti-extension exercises are some of my favorite core work. You know if you're doing it right or wrong based on can you keep your lower back pressed down to the ground. It's also nice because the other two exercises were rather challenging, got our heart rate up. So now we're able to let our heart rate come down and work on some core strength. Last ones each side. And if you guys finished that a lot quicker than I did, maybe we went a little too quick, but that's the first circuit. We're gonna take a short rest. We're gonna come on back, perform that 2 more times. After that, I'm gonna see you at the next circuit. So have a good drink of water. I'll see you in a sec. All right, next grouping of exercises. Again, we got 3 movement patterns. We're gonna be needing a resistance band here, something rather thin, as well as a medium-sized kettlebell, maybe something on the lighter side. The first movement pattern we're gonna perform is gonna be a squat with a kettlebell, as well as a halo at the top of the range of motion, so a complex of 2 movements in one. When we're finished with that, we're gonna do a plank variation of a plank reach. One arm stays in a plank, reach out, tap in front of us. After that, we're gonna finish with a little bit more squatting work. We're gonna do some banded thrusters, working our lower body and upper body all in one. This is a tough one. Our heart rate's gonna get up a bit from here. So let's get started. The first movement pattern that I mentioned is gonna be that squat with that kettlebell halo. So the first thing we wanna do is grab a rather light kettlebell, and we're gonna get this guy up to our chest. Good clean. I'm gonna flip it upside down. Now from here, I'm gonna start by taking the kettlebell through a large range of motion around my head. Hence, I make a halo. Once I go around both directions, I then do 1 squat, keeping my chest nice and upright. Again, from the side, we're doing 10 repetitions. Big circle around my head. I'm not moving my head around, keeping it low. Squat, stay nice and upright. I'm not staying above my head, right? I'm trying to keep it nice and low when I go around my body. I'm not rushing it. 4, I have my shoulder blades in a good position. This is a great way for you to work on shoulder stability. Take your shoulders through a large range of motion if we've been sitting most of the day. Keep it going. When I do my squat, I think about opening my hips up. I don't let my knees collapse in. Corkscrew my feet. You get to work your grip strength a little from having to hold this kettlebell up for so long. It's a great full body movement. Last one. If your squat doesn't look rather vertical, you don't look like this and you look more like this, we might need to work on our ankle range of motion, being able to get our feet to track forward more to get a more advantageous position. Okay, next, I mentioned that plank reach, so let's do that guy. I'm gonna set a timer for 45 seconds. We're gonna get into a plank position. Okay, from here, I'm gonna take one arm, I'm gonna reach out, tap the floor in front of me, bring it all the way back. Opposite side, reach, tap. Now I'm resisting the urge of rotating, and I'm resisting the urge of going into extension. I want posterior pelvic tilt, and I want to maintain that. Deep breath, staying calm. If this is too challenging, you can stay put. If it's too easy, you can keep one arm out in front of you, keep that elongated center of gravity, make it more challenging. But again, a little anti-rotation, resisting the urge of rotating our hips, as well as anti-extension. Great core exercise. Deep breath, staying calm. Really push away with those shoulder blades, don't fall down. 3, 2, ooh, beautiful, 45 seconds, done. Okay, third final thing. We're gonna now do some banded thrusters. I'm gonna take this resistance band. I'm gonna step on the bottom portion. I'm gonna get into a shoulder width position. From here, I'm gonna pull the band apart. I'm gonna do 15 repetitions. I'm gonna get into a good squat. I stand, press my arms over my head, and I pull my arms apart to get into a better overhead press position. External rotation of my shoulders. I want my armpits to face the world. As crazy as that sounds, I do not want to rotate inward. I want external rotation. Bring it down. 15 reps. Now, when I go to stand and press, I want to make sure my arms are directly over my head, over my center of gravity, not out in front of me. Bring it back down. Deep breaths. It's a great way to go through a full range of motion, work on being explosive out of the squat to help assist getting the band over your head. It's the nice thing about bands, because the resistance gets harder as you pull it apart more, you gotta be explosive. I try to keep a vertical torso angle when I squat. 2 more. Last one. I think of hands wide, pulling the band apart. And 15. Woo, shoulders are burning, heart rate's up. Okay, let's take a short rest, and then we're gonna do 2 more rounds of that, and then I'll see you at the last circuit. So keep working hard. All right, third final circuit, home stretch. We got 3 tough movement patterns here. The equipment we're gonna need is gonna probably be a light kettlebell as well as a resistance band that's gonna be set up at about belly button hip height. The first movement pattern we're gonna be performing is gonna be a Coccyx Squat, which is gonna be us doing a lateral lunge, but from a stationary position, trying to keep our center of gravity low. When we're finished doing that, we're gonna be doing a front rack. We're gonna hold the kettlebell to our chest, a front rack single arm banded press from a kneeling position. It sounds like a lot. We're gonna go through that. And then the third and final thing is staying in that half kneeling position. We're gonna do some anti-rotation work by doing a Pallof press to challenge our core. So without further ado, let's finish out this workout. So like I said before, the first thing we're gonna do is gonna be a Coccyx Squat. We can do this with a weight or without. It's rather challenging, so we might wanna start without. The first thing we're gonna do is to get into a rather wide-footed position, okay? It's kind of like we're doing a sumo deadlift with our feet straight. From here, we can hold the weight to our chest, we can hold it by our hips, whatever we prefer. We're gonna shift our weight to one side, just like a lateral lunge, getting into this bottom position with a 90-degree knee bend, and I lengthen out the tissue of the opposite leg. But then instead of standing all the way upright, I just shift my weight to the other side. And I'm just gonna go back and forth, keeping my center of gravity rather low. We're gonna do 10 reps per side. So let's do that first. Shoulder blades down and back. Can hold this guy to my chest. Weight shifts over to the side. Deep breaths. Now, if you feel this is really challenging or maybe this tissue is too tight, you can always do a lateral lunge with a little less time under tension. You can do this assisted by holding onto a set of rings. We might need to do our hip opener. Again, lengthening out some of this tissue, but this is a great way to work in the sagittal plane, left to right. Strengthen your hips in a way that we usually don't when we train in the gym. People do a lot of moving forward in the frontal plane and backward. Good, we want to make sure the knee is not collapsing in. We're activating our glute and opening up that hip. We're trying to stay relatively upright. We'll have to push our butt back to get into a lower position. Almost there, deep breaths. This will really help you work on strengthening your hips, your quads, as well as just working on your general mobility by taking you through this long range of motion. Last ones, and that's 10 each side. Beautiful. Okay, next, I got a band set up over here in the doorway I'm gonna grab. Like I mentioned before, we're gonna be doing a press from a half kneeling position. Okay, so my elbow is inside of the band. We're gonna also have a kettlebell front racked. So whatever knee is on the floor, that's the hand holding the band. Opposite foot out in front, holding the kettlebell. Front rack, nice vertical forearm. We don't want internal rotation, almost like we're overhead pressing. Now from here, I have a nice tight belly. I'm bracing my stomach. I take my shoulder blade, retract it, depress it, keep it in a good stable position for my shoulder. 12 reps per side. Press our arm, work our pec, slowly absorb, explode. We get to work our core, we get to work our chest, a little bit of our shoulder. My elbow is very close to my side. I'm not up high and wide, right? Think of external rotation. I got a neutral palm, it's not pronated. I'm resisting the urge of rotation. I'm staying nice and upright, I'm not arching my back. Again, if this is too easy, walk yourself further away or do really slow time under tension. And good. Whatever you need to do to make this more challenging, again, we're trying to have little equipment and do a lot of work with that little bit of equipment, so we gotta find ways to make this harder on us. Same setup, shoulder blades back, press, nice and slow. Trying to be explosive, and then absorb. Again, really important that shoulder blade is back and down. Full range of motion. We want to finish with a locked out elbow. Our hand finishes right under our chest. It's not too high up, making us elevate our trap, right, like this. Shoulder blades down. Almost there. Last one, and then we're not gonna let go of this band. I'm gonna hold this band. Next, we got that Pallof press I mentioned. So, I want the band to be lateral to me. The foot that's further away from the band is out in front, okay? It's gonna help with stability. From here, I grab the band with both hands, and we're gonna be doing a Pallof press, meaning retracted shoulder blades. I'm gonna slowly press my arms out, about a 2-second pace, and I'm gonna resist the urge of this band pulling me laterally and working my core. We're doing 10 reps per side, nice and slow. So we're gonna start from here. Deep breaths, staying calm. Again, lateral to us, right? If I'm doing it this way, it's really working my shoulders because it's almost a press. I want it to be trying to rotate me this way, and I'm fighting as I press my arms out. Time under tension is so important here. Do this slow. If you do it fast, you're gonna have to do 100 reps. Just do 10 real slow. My elbows, when I lock them out, they're symmetrical. I'm not elevating one shoulder blade. I don't have an arm bent. Last one. Good. Okay. Next, I will switch directions. Actually, let me give you a better view. Okay, I just wanted to give you a better view. Now more from the side. Again, shoulder blades retracted down and back. Press my arms away slowly. Deep breaths. We do a lot of rotational work in the gym. We play a lot of sports with rotation, tennis, golf, but very rarely do we practice the ability of resisting rotation under load. So I find this a super effective way to work your obliques, your core. Do a good job of bracing your stomach because the tension's hardest at the end. So it's not constant tension. 2 more. And again, if you're gonna make this harder, walk further away from your door or wherever you attach the band to make it more challenging. So there you have it, guys. We got 2 more rounds of that and then we're finished up. And then I'm gonna see you at the finish line, talk about what we did. Keep working hard. Congratulations on finishing your anterior strength workout. I'm proud of you. Thank you for working so hard. We worked on little things like strengthening connective tissue around your knee. You're going to be stronger in sitting and standing patterns now. You're going to be able to pick things up off the ground a little easier if you have to bend down in a lunge to grab something as you get older. You'll be able to put your overhead bag overhead a little bit easier because, again, you're stronger, reducing your risk of injury. So, again, this is going to provide you immense benefits, and as well, you're going to build some muscle and your metabolism is going to be faster if you're eating the right things and you're doing this consistently. So hydrate, good nutrition, continue to work hard. Again, you should be proud of yourself. I look forward to seeing you at the next workout. Thank you for working so hard. See you soon.